Well, hello everyone. Thanks for having me. These are indeed exciting times. It's good to hear about all these different stories. I have, 20 minutes or so before Chetan, and then he's before the beer. So this is a tough position, but I'm going to try and go through a little bit of an overview of what we have in the terms of machine learning, and then what's coming in the future. And I need to do this all the time because not everyone knows exactly what it is that we have, because we've always been a priced option. And because of that, some people have said, well, maybe the next purchase, I'll add that in. But now, as of December 5th, 2019, we are a free option. So the phone's been ringing off the hook. Everyone's saying, hey, I didn't know I can access that. That's really quite exciting. And they're picking it up and doing cool things with it. So that's really been a fun time. Our overall strategy and architecture is up in the upper left. Move the algorithms, not the data. We started on this journey a long time ago, and the whole idea was that as data volumes get bigger and bigger, it would make no sense to ever have to move the data out to some other platform just to compute a median or to run a neural net or do any sort of thing. So that's what we've always been trying to do. And you'll see more of that, and then where we take it from there, and how we try to make machine learning, easy. So safe harbor statement, because a few of these things will be in technical terms coming soon. So you might have seen at Oracle World, the last Oracle World, that this new converged database messaging about how the database just keeps on adding different features for JSON images, spatial, graph, in memory, all these different kind of features. The one that I like the most, and they all work really, really well together, as we're seeing in so many of these presentations, of course, is the machine learning, which allows you to discover new insights and make predictions. And what we have for an offering is called Oracle Machine Learning. It's gone by different names over the years, but now we've kind of settled into this Oracle Machine Learning nomenclature. And we have Oracle Machine Learning for SQL, the core functions, the integration with R, Oracle Machine Learning for R, the integration with Python, Oracle Machine Learning, OML Pi, for Pi, and so on. And so what Oracle Machine Learning does is it extends the database. It is the database. You do not have to install it separately. It is the database. And the algorithms extend the database to allow users to build AI type of applications, analytic dashboards. They can access the algorithms that we have inside the database. They can via SQL, via GUI, via notebooks. And because we have very, very tight integration with open source languages such as Python and R, they can also their data scientists can speak Python to these algorithms, or do anything they want in Python or R as well. And so what we're trying to do, realizing that machine learning is a team sport, is we're trying to, it involves many different pieces to go from data to model build to model evaluation to model deployment and monitoring. What we're trying to do is make machine learning simple. And the way we started out doing this, I always like to show this because it kind of gets people level set. On the right, you see a naive Bayes algorithm. It's just based on counting. It's a conditional probability counting based algorithm. And we said way back a long time ago, hey, that kind of lends itself to being implemented in a database. That's just a query, right? A query with a lot of aggregations and some conditional probability computations at the end. So that's where we started. And then with each major release of the database, we've added in 2 or 3 additional major new algorithms. That's kind of been our pattern. And we added the integration with the R a few years ago. We're just coming out now, coming soon with the integration with Python. And so now this database over these years, now also being made as a free feature of the Oracle database with 350,000 customers and so on that have it, is really not just a file cabinet to store and manage your data. It's this converged database that really allows you to start thinking about things like an AI database, a thinking database. You no longer just store your data. Now you can store the data and build many, 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 many predictive models and compare, actual to predictions and whatever you want to do. So it's kind of exciting times. The range of algorithms that we have is pretty wide. We have over 30 algorithms. I haven't counted them just lately, but we've added in the next release, the 20C XG Boost, which is a popular algorithm, something called MSET SPRT for process monitoring. We have the Python integration coming. But the thing that's, I think, most interesting about all the algorithms is they're in database implementations, which means we have at our fingertips all the other very powerful database capabilities, like security, it exists, right? Privileges, it exists. Encryption, we have access to that. If you have unstructured data like marital status is a bunch of text. Well, we use Oracle Text under the hood to tokenize all that and bring that in. If you have my location or my transactions are all just sort of transactional data, I can bring in transactional data. It's all the fine print down at the bottom is really kind of telling it all. Transactional data, aggregations, unstructured data, geospatial data, graph data, and so on. You can do a lot, right? There's a lot of analytical bricks here to build whatever you want to do. And under the hood, it's running in its native, most pure form, just as pure SQL. Now, I'm skipping over the R versions of this and the Python versions of this, but under the hood is just DBMS data mining create model 2. The type of function is classification. We're trying to predict customers who will likely buy travel insurance when they go on a cruise, something like that. We're looking ahead here. And then once you've built your model, it's just a select a prediction probability with some status of those attributes, and you get a prediction. So it's sort of that straightforward. Build a model, apply a model, off you go. And more recently, we've been exposing all this in the autonomous database via Zeppelin-based notebooks. So this makes it really easy. We ship, you know, when you could fire up a database, and I think I always tell the story about how at Moscone last year, I fired up my own autonomous database while going up those escalators in Moscone West from the first floor to the third floor. And by the top of the third floor, I already fired up an autonomous database and was playing around with notebooks. It's pretty easy because we also ship 9 example notebooks. Now, initially they are SQL-based and PL SQL-based and Markdown language, but we are adding in support for Python very soon. So you'll also be able to have your, you know, teams that speak Python also use these notebooks. They're they have shared access and privileges, and I've been working with a lot of different teams, kind of working on some cool demos, and it's just nice to be all sharing the same, you know, instance. It seems really good. And so in total, on the left-hand side, you sort of see the on-premise stuff, right? We have the drag and drop Oracle Data Miner user interface that comes with SQL Developer. We have the R interface using something like RStudio. And on the right-hand side, you have the notebooks, and then also have something, a new user interface I'll call Oracle Machine Learning AutoML user interface. I'll show that in a minute. But it's sort of a whole range of things. And whether or not your data is stored in the database, on-prem, in the cloud, you're using big data SQL to boil down the data lake and bring in those counts and totals. Whatever you're doing, we try to make it, have a solution for you and make it simple. So now, what's coming soon? What's coming soon is first of all, the Python integration with Python. That'll come out on the autonomous database initially. So you can speak Python in your notebooks. You'll have the ability to do embedded Python execution and call a Python package on that. And we're also adding in REST APIs. You have something called AutoML functionality. I'll explain. You have the new AutoML user interface over here that I'm showing. I'll show that in a little bit bigger. We have the new OML services, so a REST API. We'll bring R to the cloud right after that, and then we'll bring Python down to on-prem, also coming soon. And then also in 20C, we have 2 new algorithms, the very popular XGBoost and the MSET SPRT for process monitoring. So in 20C, the 2 new algorithms are the XGBoost, okay, that's won many Kaggle competitions, and it's been very popular for classification, regression, and so on. And then another one that comes out of our integration and support working with our own Oracle Labs. They've had some great algorithms, and so it's been some great cooperations with Oracle Labs. So this one's called a multivariate state estimation technique. And it's really designed for like monitoring nuclear power plants, monitoring aircraft engines as they fly over states, and just trying to see if it's running smoothly, and it's very robust to missing values off the sensors and things like that. Very low false positives also. On the machine learning integration with Python, it's going to operate exactly the same way that we do it today with the R. So there's the transparency layer. You speak Python, but we map it. We overload we leverage proxy objects, and we overload the function so that it's actually executing inside the database. So that's, you know, really powerful and cool just unto itself. We also have access to the 30-something Oracle Machine Learning for SQL algorithms that you're now able to speak Python to drive those algorithms. When you need to do something else, like call a special scikit-learn or matplotlib or something like that package, you can do embedded execution to that. On autonomous, that's going to be a limited number of packages. On-prem, you'll have the ability to download, and your DBA can install whatever they want. And then we have the new automated AutoML. Now, when we add the Python in, it'll look, in the notebooks, it'll look the same as everything else, right? It's a notebook, and instead of %SQL, I'll just type in %Python. And off I go. I can do any kind of graphic or Python functionality. And we've added a number of new notebooks, so we'll be up to something like 26 notebooks now up on the autonomous database. And those are just great starter kits. I have people that just, you know, say, hey, take this notebook, repurpose it to my own data set, and press go. It's almost that easy. And so now in Python, it opens just up a lot of new possibilities for all the people whose native tongue is Python, who want to do some additional graphing, some additional Python functionality. It's just, you know, a wonderful thing. So we're becoming more and more multilingual. We're also adding in the new AutoML, and the AutoML is doing a bunch of complicated sort of steps automatically for you. Automatic algorithm selection based on the sort of data profile that's being brought in. Automatic feature selection for each algorithm. It'll say, well, for this algorithm, these features seem to work better, and so on. And then once you've narrowed everything down, it'll continue the sort of shotgun approach, but with a very intelligent sort of narrowed down set of algorithms that are still champions and, you know, contenders going forward down to auto tune the hyperparameters. So it really enables it's a productivity thing for the power user, and it's also enabling the non-users, non-expert users to use it. The Oracle Machine Learning AutoML user interface is kind of like the cloud version of the Oracle Data Miner in the sense that it's designed for the citizen data scientist. It's not going to be a drag and drop. It's a whole different sort of paradigm, but it's for the citizen data scientist and the data scientist and the application developers to all sort of work together. It's very intuitive, easy to use. I'll just kind of step through some slides here. I think also one of the really nice features of it is it's going to generate notebooks. So if I go click, 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 and I say, well, I got it close, I'd like to hand it off to somebody who's better at coding than me, I can hand off the notebook. We'll generate the code for them to keep right on going. We also do model deployment with it and model management. So here in your notebook, you're going to go up here and say AutoML. It's going to just ask you some real quick questions. What's the name of your experiment? Targeting customers. What's your data source? Click on it. There's my data source. There's just kind of like what we do with the data source node on Oracle Data Miner. There's my target attribute. It'll go off and do a certain amount of identification of the features. When I run, I can say the prediction type. It'll know that it's an affinity card. It's a categorical type of variable, so it's going to do classification. It'll do a certain amount of automated data profiling. And then as it goes off and keeps on running, it'll have sort of a leaderboard of all the different models as they run and shotgun off. It'll show me the attribute importance overall, and then for each model, I can also see the attribute importance for that model. I'll get all the different model summaries. It just kind of runs all these different things. It'll pick out the best model for me based on the metric that I stated over, you know, in the beginning. And if I want to take that further and create a notebook, I can go off and do that as well, which is, I think, is really nice, that handoff from the citizen data scientist to the data scientist. And if I want to deploy the model using any kind of REST API or any of the other, you know, deployment methods that you know and love today, you can do that as well. We're also adding, coming soon, these new Oracle Machine Learning services that support model deployment and lifecycle management beyond the database. So now if I want to take my model that I built and I want to export it beyond the database and, I don't know, say run it on my Droid or whatever, out in space, wherever I'm going with this model, I can take the model that's been deployed, use a REST API, and keep going. And with that, we're going to have certain deployed models that we ship, a classification model based on our Oracle text capabilities. And if you want to bring in any kind of Onyx-based open source format model and score that there as well, you see my dog, that's my dog. And you can see it's a beagle most likely, and it's not necessarily a foxhound and so on. But there are models, image models that you can run and score there as well. Now, one thing that is really cool, I think, the Oracle Analytics Cloud people have picked up our stuff. So now I can build my notebook over on the left-hand side. And then once I have this prediction of which employees are likely to leave, and by the way, we put this out on GitHub and you can get access to it, and we put out YouTubes and stuff on that. But once you've done this, if you want to go over here to Oracle Analytics Cloud, well, they've integrated with us. So from OAC, I just say I want to register a model. Which model? Well, all the ones that I've built before, and I can inspect and interrogate the models. So I just pick a model. Now I say I want to apply the model. So they have this little workflow set up here where I can have data sets and have there's my employees' data, pick a model. I then run the model. It runs entirely in the database, but I'm using this very, very simple OAC sort of paradigm to do that. And then at the end, you have all the results. Where are they? The results are in the database, and OAC just has all these really nice interactive filters for filtering by department, by the amount of business travel, and it just kind of updates these, and I can sort through things rather easily. And it's just a really nice combination of all these different parts working together. Here, another graph, and again, the prediction, yes, no, by department, and so on. It's just kind of an interesting way to go through this. And if that's not enough graphs, they have a whole range of graphs you can use. So there's just, you know, a plethora of graphs you can use out there. It makes it a lot of fun. I'm just still even learning, you know, how to tap into this stuff. I've seen some other great presentations of people that know how to do this far better than I do. Wait, there's more. If I have Oracle Application Express, Apex, which a lot of people use, that's right there on the autonomous database too. So all of my predictions, I could just do it this way with Apex. I could put it out on a mobile device if I wanted to, whatever I want to do. And again, I have an interactive drill down. I have a lot of different sort of ways to deploy my insights and my predictions and my models. So these are indeed exciting times. There is something I just want to call your attention to. I've seen, since we've become free, I've seen a lot of people who are Oracle data professionals who are simply adding machine learning skills to their toolkit because they are already knowing how to deal with the database and privileges and SQL and so on. And the machine learning part of it, you know, well, they're already doing a lot of that work today, right? The data preparation, the data wrangling, it's a lot of that work already. And so there are this standard sort of methodology that data scientists go through is business understanding, data preparation, and so on, finally down to deployment. And there's a lot of scary steps in there, but if you look at the ones that we've dimmed, that I've dimmed in gray, we have defaults or automation for handling all these things. So I've only left in the black those things that the domain experts really need to worry about, assembling the right data, have a well-defined business problem, and so on. So we're really trying to make this simple. There are a number of hands-on labs and resources and YouTubes and things to get people going. At Oracle Open World, Mark and Marcos and I, we did this 4 times, I think, with just packed classes of people that were learning how to use the product. So it's exciting times. I wish you the best. If anybody has any questions on this, you can see me afterwards during the beer part, I guess. And with that, I'll say thank you.